Thank you.
The Hunger Games movies looked polished on screen, but behind the scenes they were dangerous, chaotic, and full of secrets nobody expected. From real injuries to haunted props, these 20 shocking facts reveal how wild the production truly was. 1. Jennifer Lawrence damaged her hearing during filming. The danger on the Hunger Games set started far earlier than fans ever realized. During an underwater scene, a malfunctioning jet burst right beside Jennifer Lawrence's ear. The blast was so sudden and so loud that she temporarily lost hearing in one ear. Yet instead of halting production, she pushed through several days of filming while half-deaf, relying on muscle memory and the crew's signals to stay on mark. The injury didn't fully heal until after shooting wrapped, which shocked fans years later when she finally revealed it. And if that seems intense for a movie aimed at teens, the next fact shows how real the arena truly was. 2. The cornucopia was built fully practical. Most audiences assume the cornucopia was a digital illusion. It wasn't. The production team built a gigantic practical structure made from metal, resin, and steel framing. It was so sharp that stunt performers wore hidden padding under their costumes to avoid slicing their arms while running past it. Even background actors were warned not to lean on the outer shell. The crew described it as a beautiful hazard, stunning on camera but genuinely dangerous to stand near. And while the cornucopia was already a threat, a deceptively simple prop created a much bigger problem next. 3. The Nightlock berries were real fruit coated with fake skin. Nightlock berries were supposed to symbolize death on screen, but in real life, they nearly caused a disaster. The props team used real fruit covered with a thin, artificial skin to mimic the look of a poisonous berry. Actors were repeatedly told never to bite them, no matter how many takes were filmed. But one extra, distracted and hungry during a long day, popped one into his mouth. The coating chemicals made him sick enough to require medical treatment on the spot. After that, the crew kept the berries locked in a labeled container just to avoid another accident. And if props were risky, the actors' training brought an entirely new level of realism that pushed boundaries. 4. Jennifer Lawrence trained with real Navy SEALs. Katniss Everdeen wasn't just written as a survivor. Jennifer Lawrence trained to move like one. The studio hired real Navy SEAL instructors to teach her knife handling, hand-to-hand combat, evasive running, and silent tracking techniques. They pushed her through drills so demanding that she developed a stiff running posture the SEALs corrected repeatedly. By the end, she moved through the forest scenes with the fluidity of someone who had actually trained for combat. But intense training didn't stop accidents, because the next moment knocked an actor out cold. 5. Josh Hutcherson was accidentally knocked unconscious. Stunt rehearsals are designed for precision, not chaos. But during one sequence, Jennifer Lawrence misjudged her timing and hit Josh Hutcherson hard in the head. He dropped instantly, completely unconscious, long enough to scare the entire crew. When he woke up, he reportedly joked about seeing District 13, but medics still pulled him aside for evaluation. The production slowed all combat rehearsals after the incident to avoid another accidental KO. And while that moment was scary, the next challenge came not from physical danger, but from a sound no one could get right. 6. The Mockingjay whistle was rejected 120 times. The iconic Mockingjay whistle seems simple, 4 haunting notes that symbolize rebellion. But sound designers struggled for weeks trying to create the perfect tone. Early versions sounded playful, friendly, or too musical, failing to capture the mysterious, unsettling quality the story required. After more than 120 attempts, they finally produced a version eerie enough to satisfy the director. The final whistle became so recognizable that it quickly turned into one of the series' defining sounds. And while the whistle took patience, Effie's transformation pushed someone to their breaking point. 7. Elizabeth Banks nearly quit because of the prosthetics. Effie Trinket looked glamorous, but Elizabeth Banks endured agony behind the scenes. Her prosthetics, lashes, wigs, and adhesives took hours to apply daily. The chemicals irritated her skin so badly that it sometimes peeled when the makeup team removed the layers. At one point, she told the director she couldn't continue unless the process changed. The team redesigned her prosthetic routine to reduce the pain, but Banks later admitted that Effie's elegance came at a real personal cost. And if Effie's pain seems intense, the extras behind her dealt with something even more unexpected. 8. The Capitol crowd costumes were so restrictive. Extras could not sit. The Capitol scenes owed their stunning visuals to hundreds of heavily costumed extras. But those costumes had a dark side. Many were so rigid, oversized, or delicate that sitting was impossible. Instead of chairs, extras leaned against padded walls, kneeled on cushions, or rotated positions just to rest their legs. Some outfits weighed more than 30 pounds, making long shooting days feel like endurance events. Yet their immobility created the stiff, eerie Capitol aesthetic the director wanted. And while costumes limited movement, one dress in particular pushed danger to the edge. 9. The fire dress. Used real flames in early tests. Before CGI took over, the effects team experimented with real controlled flames under a mesh skirt to simulate Katniss's fire dress. The flames were extremely unstable, flickering close to Jennifer Lawrence's legs in early tests. One misfire nearly scorched the fabric. The team immediately scrapped the idea and turned to visual effects, deciding that no level of realism justified the risk. The CGI version became one of the franchise's most iconic visuals, and while Katniss wore fire, her designer brought something unexpectedly authentic to the production. 10. Lenny Kravitz designed some of Cinna's jewelry himself. Lenny Kravitz didn't just play Cinna, he contributed to the character's aesthetic. Because he already designed high-end jewelry in real life, the director let him choose and craft several pieces himself. He came to set with sketches, materials, and ideas that made Cinna's look feel grounded, personal, and artistic. Fans praised his understated style, not realizing it came directly from Kravitz's own passion for design. And if the cast brought this much realism on screen, the chaos behind the scenes was even wilder. And that's what we uncover next. 11. Liam Hemsworth fractured his ankle while running. Liam Hemsworth pushed himself hard during the forest chase scenes, but the terrain hid a dangerous surprise. While sprinting at full speed, he stepped onto a soft patch that collapsed into a shallow incline. His ankle twisted sharply, the crack was audible, and he fell hard. Yet he refused to stop filming. He tightened his boot, iced it between takes, and powered through the rest of the day. The injury became so swollen that Wardrobe had to cut open his shoe the next morning to fit his foot back in. And while Liam fought through pain, another cast member was fighting the production itself, but for a very unusual reason. 12. Woody Harrelson refused to stay in a hotel. Woody Harrelson decided that Hamish Abernathy shouldn't live in a luxury hotel, and neither should he. Instead, he rented an eco-friendly house miles away from the studio. He rode a bicycle to set every morning, even in bad weather, refusing the transportation vans offered by production. The crew joked that Woody was living through Hamish's detox era, especially because he brought homemade smoothies, vegan meals, and refused most craft services snacks. His lifestyle became so admired that several extras started copying his routines during the shoot. But while Woody embraced simplicity, the author of the entire franchise demanded something far more intense. 13. Suzanne Collins watched every cut and rewrote lines on the spot. Most authors hand the movie off to Hollywood and step back. Suzanne Collins did the opposite. She attended table reads, editing sessions, and even late-night screenings of rough cuts. If a line felt off, she rewrote it on the spot. Some of the most emotional dialogue, including moments between Katniss and Prim, came directly from her during filming days. Directors described her as surgical, with character motivation, refusing to let the tone drift from the books. Her involvement kept the films grounded in the spirit of the original novels. And while her rewrites reshaped emotional scenes, the physical arena was about to shake the cast in a far more literal way. Hit subscribe now so you never miss the wild movie secrets. Hollywood hopes you forget. 14. The arena trees were built on giant rotating platforms. To simulate disorientation inside the arena, the production team mounted enormous fake trees onto huge rotating platforms. When actors ran through the forest, the ground moved beneath their feet just enough to create dizziness and panic. Over time, the motion became overwhelming. Several cast members vomited between takes, and stunt performers had to take motion sickness pills to keep going. The effect looked incredible on camera, but the actors joked that it felt like filming inside a carnival ride gone wrong. And the danger didn't stop there. Even Katniss's weapon came with real-world stakes. 15. Katniss's bow was a custom competition recurve. Worth thousands, Katniss's bow wasn't a cheap prop. It was a fully functional Olympic-grade competition recurve worth several $1,000s. Archery specialists trained Jennifer Lawrence to draw it with perfect form, so she didn't look like a casual movie archer. She learned stance, anchor points, breath timing, and target focus. The bow was powerful enough to shoot real arrows long distances, so the tips were always removed for safety. Even so, instructors praised Jennifer for learning enough technique to look like a genuine competitor. But while weapons were handled with precision, one actor went far beyond the script to transform his villain. 16. Donald Sutherland wrote President Snow's backstory. Himself, the screenplay gave only a handful of clues about President Snow's past, but Donald Sutherland wanted more. So he wrote pages of political theory, family lineage, personal history, and even diary-style reflections to understand the character's psychology. He crafted motivations the audience never hears out loud, including Snow's fear of chaos, his obsession with control, and his belief that rebellion spreads like a disease. The depth he created never made it fully into the script, but it shaped every icy, calculated expression he delivered on screen. And while Sutherland built lore, the crew whipped up a strange ingredient for another district, something surprisingly sweet. 17. District 12's coal dust was made from Oreos. Filmmakers needed mountains of coal dust for District 12, but real dust was unsafe to breathe. Their solution was oddly delicious: crushed Oreos. Bags of cookies were ground into fine black powder, which looked perfect on camera and didn't irritate lungs. Extras said working in District 12 scenes meant going home smelling like dessert. Some even licked the dust off their fingers between takes. It was one of the strangest, yet safest production tricks used in the entire franchise. But while the dust was sweet, the next creature effect was the opposite and downright disturbing. 18. The Mutts in Catching Fire were played by real actors in motion suits. Before CGI transformed them into terrifying creatures, the Mutts were acted out by performers wearing full-body motion capture suits. These actors crawled, leaped, and snarled on all fours to create realistic body movements. The raw footage was so unsettling that some crew members refused to watch playback at night, calling it too animalistic for comfort. The physical performances made the Mutts' movements shockingly organic once the digital skin was added. But even fictional monsters couldn't compete with the chaos caused by one haunting song. 19. The Hanging Tree song caused real-world protests. After Mockingjay released, The Hanging Tree escaped the movie and entered real politics. Protesters in multiple countries used the song as a symbol of rebellion. Some governments temporarily banned it from television broadcasts because crowds were using it to rally demonstrations. The phenomenon shocked Lionsgate, who never expected a fictional resistance song to spark real resistance in the world outside the screen. And the final twist proved just how intense the franchise originally aimed to be. 20. Mockingjay's final battle was originally much more violent. Early cuts of Mockingjay, Part 2 showed brutal graphic battlefield scenes that pushed the film far outside its PG-13 rating. The studio forced editors to remove dozens of shots, including violent mud attacks, blood sprays, and extended sequences of Capitol Street combat. Even with the cuts, the final film still felt heavy, but the original version was described as unrealistically intense for young audiences. The toned-down battle was the only way to get the film into theaters with its expected rating. And once you see how much danger, chaos, and real emotion went into filming The Hunger Games, the series becomes even more gripping than the arena itself.